enter the scene on Fox Across America is Elizabeth Slattery. Elizabeth, welcome to the program.
Thanks so much for having me.
Pleasure. And I'm very, very anxious for your intellectual take on this. I think it's a really big deal what the minority leader of the United States Senate did for a lot of reasons. If he would have said it anywhere, it still would have been bad. But he positioned himself almost like he's not a person within the government that holds a position of trust and respect and leadership. And he was acting like some rabble-rouser protester, going over the top with incendiary language and threats. And I think it's a really big deal. Do you?
I completely agree. I think Senator Schumer really should know better, and I think that he does know better. And honestly, the rhetoric surrounding the court has become increasingly aggressive from the left. Just consider, last fall, Senator Sheldon Whitehouse filed an amicus brief at the Supreme Court in the big Second Amendment case that they're hearing, where he told the court that it needs to heal itself or it could face being restructured. So I think we're just seeing this is unfortunately part of a bigger trend to target members of the court and to make them feel that they're being intimidated and threatened.
Elizabeth, let's unpack that comment that you mentioned that the senator said, because it is so much more disturbing than maybe some people know. It was Senator Kennedy who talked about, hey, I don't really know what he's talking about. Is he talking about court packing? I mean, are they talking about what President Roosevelt tried to do? Add new additional members to the court because you just want to change the math? I mean, pretty radical stuff, wouldn't you say?
Definitely, and there have been several different proposals that have been floated by various Democratic presidential hopefuls and others in the Senate. Whether the composition of the court, the number of justices on the court, is going to change, they would have to get people from across the aisle to agree to that. And I'm not sure how likely I see that as happening. But it still is, it's unfortunate to be threatening the independence of the judiciary in such a way to say that you need to rule the way we want you to, or we're going to change your structure. Yeah.
Or else, I mean, because he's talking about you've unleashed whirlwind. I mean, it's so incendiary, over the top, Elizabeth. It's deeply troubling. If we think about it, if you were at a Rotary Club meeting anywhere in America where they have tenets of how they conduct themselves and all these beautiful things, and if somebody disrespected the guest speaker, did something out of line, they'd get a letter of reprimand. They'd get censured. They might, who knows, they might even get dismissed from the organization. What is in your estimation, Elizabeth, what is the appropriate penalty for the minority leader of the United States Senate when he was directly outside of the Supreme Court threatening by name two associate justices, Gorsuch and Kavanaugh? What's the appropriate penalty? There's a Senator Hawley that would like to have the Senate minority leader censured. What do you think should happen? I have to believe that we can't say nothing should happen and we just go on like nothing happened. What's the appropriate penalty for something like this?
I think Senator Hawley is right that a censure would be appropriate. And, Senator Schumer took to the Senate floor earlier today. He said he was offering an apology. In my view, he seemed to be saying sorry, but I'm not sorry.
Yes.
He said, I'm from Brooklyn. I speak in strong language.
Yes.
But that shouldn't be an excuse. And he tried to put it back on the Republicans and say that they're busy manufacturing outrage over comments that that they know what they really mean. But clearly enough people didn't know what Schumer, what he purportedly meant, because enough people, Twitter was aflame last night and this morning over this with, people from, an opinion writer for the Washington Post, the American Bar Association, all sorts of institutions that are not exactly, conservative, coming out to condemn what Senator Schumer has done.